Let's talk about caffeine. Caffeine has a number of different effects, both on your central nervous system and your body. It accomplishes those things by basically blocking certain pathways that are causing your body to relax. You have to think of your body as constantly being in a state of potential relaxation and potential excitation. It's almost like your body has one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And by toggling back and forth, either one of these two things, you can have a net effect of being revved up and ready to go or being relaxed and ready to chill. In your central nervous system, caffeine works by blocking something called adenosine. There's a receptor in your brain called the adenosine receptor. And when this molecule called adenosine activates that receptor, it leads to a number of different effects in your brain that have to do with relaxation. It prepares you for sleep, it prepares you for rest. So your body is constantly, your central nervous system in particular, is constantly in a process of modulating and regulating how much you are in one state versus another state. And when caffeine blocks those receptors, it basically pushes you into the alert, awake, and ready to go phase of neurofunction. Now, on the rest of your body, it does something similar. It blocks something called phosphodiesterase. And phosphodiesterase is an enzyme that will break down this activating molecule called cyclic AMP. So, not to get super scientific and technical, but cyclic AMP, when its levels are high, results in the activation of your heart's function, the activation of your adrenal glands to release norepinephrine and adrenaline, and a number of different things. So, this molecule called cyclic AMP is there to activate those things and get you going, and that molecule is blocked by something called phosphodiesterase. And caffeine will block phosphodiesterase. So when phosphodiesterase gets blocked, then all of these other things go uninhibited. And when they're uninhibited, you are revved and charged and ready to go. Now, caffeine comes in a number of different forms. It's mostly associated with coffee and tea. And it's important that those formulations kind of get discussed. So when you take any plant product that contains caffeine, it's found in a number of different plant products, including chocolate, coffee and tea we talked about. So when you take any of those plant products and you grind them down to like a fine powder and you pour boiling water over that fine powder, what happens is the boiling water will extract a number of different molecules, including caffeine. And so the liquid that's left over is a concentrated form of those molecules. You're not eating a mouthful of coffee beans, you are extracting caffeine molecules into the coffee brew that you then drink. The problem with that is it gets rapidly absorbed in your GI tract, and your blood levels of caffeine go up pretty sharply and they immediately begin to be metabolized. Now, if you look at the metabolic rate of caffeine, it kind of varies from human to human, but it can be as short as 1.5 hours or as long as 6 to 8 hours, depending on which kind of metabolic program you're under. And that's kind of a longer conversation. But the net effect is that the moment you drink a caffeine extract like coffee or tea, it immediately hits the blood, it immediately begins to be metabolized. When we created Che, one of the most important factors was that it's got to work for you now and it's got to work for you in several hours. So in my life, I often start surgery at about 6:30 in the morning, and it's not uncommon for an operation to go 6, 7, 8, 9 hours plus. And I don't take breaks. We can't break and go to the bathroom or get something to eat or, you know, drink something. You have to be focused for that entire amount of time. And so when I was creating Che, one of the key aspects was making sure that you have energy now and you have energy hours from now. And the way we did that was, I think, pretty clever. So we use a combination of two plant-based caffeines. There is no coffee in Che. There's no black tea in Che. We use a plant called Yerba Mate. Yerba Mate comes from the south of Brazil in the region called the Pampas region, which is Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, and the south of Brazil. I actually come from the south of Brazil. And in those regions, the indigenous people would drink a tea form of this plant called Yerba Mate. Now, what we did was we took really high quality yerba mate and we milled it into a pharmaceutical grade powder, super, super fine powder. But the Tche powder, this yerba mate powder, is whole plant product. It's not a caffeine extract. When you drink Tche, you are literally ingesting whole yerba mate plant. And what that does is forces your body to slowly metabolize that plant over several hours. The net effect is a delayed and sustained release of caffeine into your body. Now, that's great for kind of a sustained release throughout the day, but you need something now. So we added to this formulation another plant from the north of Brazil in the Amazon called Guarana. Guarana is it looks like a black nut, and when it gets milled and ground, it becomes this kind of dark brown powder. And we added guarana powder to this. Guarana powder is slightly higher in caffeine concentration and hits your system faster. So when you drink a cup of Tche, you are getting plant-based caffeine from guarana and from yerba mate. And because they have a differential absorption rate, the net effect is you get immediate, you know, alertness. And you'll tell this the moment you finish your cup, you're like, oh, I'm ready to go. But the interesting thing is that a few hours later, when normally you're experiencing a crash and normally you're starting to fade, it's like you get a second wave from that yerba mate that is being digested slowly in your small intestine. So it's super exciting. We tested this over, months and months and months and months, getting the right proportion, getting the right, um, fineness of the powder, and making sure that they balanced right. And so, the net effect is that you have energy now and you have energy later. Now we realize that there are some people who you know, drink a large cup of coffee twice a day, and there are some people who seldom drink coffee or seldom drink caffeine at all. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a product that worked for everybody. And so we have three different caffeine concentrations of Tche. We have Tche 27, which has roughly 20 to 25 milligrams of caffeine. We have Tche 73, which has roughly 70 to 75 milligrams of caffeine per serving. And then we have Tche 140, which again has about 140 milligrams of caffeine per serving. So each one of those is going to work differently for different people. If you're a hardcore caffeine drinker, you want Tche 140, which is going to work on that level for you. If you're used to 150 milligrams of caffeine, and I give you something that provides you with 30 milligrams of caffeine, you're going to feel a major difference. You're probably going to feel terrible. You're probably going to have a headache. You're not going to be able to focus. You're not used to operating under those conditions. Now, if your goal is to wean yourself from caffeine, I think that's reasonable. But for me, that doesn't work. I need to be able to function optimally. In fact, I need caffeine now and I need it to last for 8 hours. That was the impetus. That's what got us started along the pathway to create Tche. We have two forms of organic plant-based caffeine. What that means is that you're not taking a caffeine extract. Caffeine extracts are when you take ground coffee beans or ground tea leaves, you pour boiling water over them, and you extract caffeine molecules. You drink that, it hits you immediately, and you metabolize it pretty quickly. With Tche, it's different. We have guarana that comes from the Amazon. That will hit you pretty quick, but you're eating milled guarana beans. You're eating the plant. And we have yerba mate, which comes from the south of Brazil. Again, we made pharmaceutical grade yerba mate powder. It's ultra fine powder that dissolves, and you're eating the whole plant. When you take Tche, it's like having a mouthful of yerba mate and a mouthful of guarana beans. Your body has to digest it. Your body has to metabolize with it. And with this form of caffeine comes all of the fiber, all of the nutrients, all of the vitamins with it. They come piggybacked in. It's not a caffeine extract, it's whole plant based. The net effect is that you feel it immediately and it sustains you much longer than the energy drinks that I was taking. I have friends who would ask me as a physician, hey, dude, what should I take every day? Should I be taking a multivitamin? Should I take testosterone? Should I take this or this or that? And look, I'm not going to opine on all those things, but there are some things that every adult should take. Every adult should take a multivitamin. Every adult should take a good probiotic. Every adult should take a high dose of fiber. Every adult should take as much antioxidants as they can. Tche has all of those things. It checks all of those boxes. Your 60-year-old self is going to thank you if you're taking a lot of antioxidant, if you're taking collagen, if you're taking a probiotic, if you're taking prebiotic fiber, if you're taking a multivitamin. All of those things add up. the plant-based caffeine will hit you right away. It's got to have form and function, and it's got to have the health benefit. And it's important that it has all of those things. It's got to taste great, which it does. It's got to make you feel great and help you do whatever you do. We have an ethos here at Che where we don't care who you are, we just care about what you do. So I don't care if you're, cleaning toilets, if you're selling cars, if you're doing brain surgery, if you're fixing houses, whatever your thing is, we respect that. We respect what you do. And we made this to help you do what you do. And our commitment to you is that when you use this, it's going to help you do what you do. And it's going to check all those boxes that you need so that when you're 60 and 70, you'll be a little bit better off.